this is my FX Impact in 2.5 FAC. This is the Mark II version. What I'm going to do, I'm just going to shoot some slugs out at 40 yards and then I'm going to push it out to 100 yards. It is very, very windy today. I don't think it's going to be affected at 40 yards, but 100 yards, even a heavy slug may be pushed around. But we are going to see how they perform out of those further distances with all these slugs that I've got to test today. Now we're down at the bench. First going to start off with some H&N 28 grain and see how we do with these. Wow. Not the best results, but that last one, Wildman slugs in 39 grain, wow. That's just gone through the same hole at 40 yards. So let's go take a look at these groups and then we'll push out to 100 yards next. That's the 40-yard testing done with a varying amount of slugs. This was just some of my practice shots where I'd try zero them in before putting them onto the target. Some groups were not bad, some were absolutely shocking, such as the H&N 28 grain, which were flying off to the side. The Zan 26.5 grain were the worst. They were getting about 10-inch groups at 40 yards, which were absolutely shocking. Some groups not bad, such as the Zan 35 grain, you got the 37 grain as well. Some of the Wildman slugs did okay, and the NSA 36.2, not too bad with the NSA 33.5. But the winner at 40 yards was this absolute shocking group. That is a Wildman slug at 39 grain. That is a tiny group. That is a one-hole group at 40 yards. So let's just see what groups they can produce out at 100 yards next. Now we've got our target set out at 100 yards. We're going to see how we fare now. However, just like to point out that it is very, very windy. So at 40 yards, slugs don't really get affected too much. But at 100 yards, even in a heavy slug, it's still going to be affected. Let's just see how these do. Here we go, 100 yards in very windy conditions. Just before I venture out to 100 yards, you can listen to the wind in this 40-yard clip. Getting tight groups with heavy slugs at 100 yards is going to be difficult. Anything close to 1 inch at 100 yards I've been mightily impressed with. Let's see how we do. 100 yards done in very, very windy conditions. Not expecting the best groups in the world, but go down there and we'll take a look. That's the 100-yard test done. A few practice shots just there to find out my holdover, and then looking at the best group at 40 yards, which was the Wildman 39 grain. Bit hard to judge really in this wind, but still 39 grain Wildman's not too bad, being blown around everywhere. Some were terrible, such as the Zan 30 grain. I think they were just being battered by the wind. They were absolutely shocking. They were scattering everywhere. Zan 37 grain performed quite well as well as the NSA 33.5 grain. Just before we get to my final thoughts on today's slug shooting in this really testing conditions, just thought we'll have a bit of fun with these tiny Firebird targets out at 100 yards. There we go. So I'm going to use the last slugs that I shot, which was the Zan 37 grains. Take a few shots just to check my zero, and then we'll go for the target. Right then, here we go. First shot, left target. Oh, a little bit low. All day doing this. I hope these are not duds that I'm shooting, because it looks as if I'm hitting it. We're very close. Oh, I think they're a bit dead, these Firebird. Right, we'll try the other one. Hopefully this one's not a dud. Oh, I've just skimmed it. I think I've just taken all the explosive out. Yeah, that's a bit unfortunate. These are dead. Well, that was an anticlimax. My Firebird targets are duds. And that's not the first time they've let me down either. Well, I wasn't speed shooting, but I certainly wasn't shooting slow. And you can see that I have hit it, and it gave me a bit of an anticlimax. That's the testing done with my FX Impact in 2.5 FAC, testing out all these slugs at different distances. Really challenging conditions, really windy. It really showed out at 100 yards. But this shoots very consistently, a very consistent spread. I didn't do any fine tuning. It's just put the slugs in the magazine, shoot them and see how they perform. Really surprised with some of the slugs, such as the Zan 37 grain, the NSA 33.5 grain, but in particular the Wildman 39 grain. They really did perform a lot better than expected. I've never shot anything at that weight before, and I generally don't shoot heavy slugs. I generally shoot a slightly lighter slug, but these Wildman 39 grains seem to be the surprise of the day. Even at quite modest speeds, you're not shooting them at supersonic speeds, and they seem to be performing really, really well in these very testing conditions. So if you like this type of video, make sure you check out this next video, and I'll see you on the next one.